Welcome to the Success Face. In this video, we will be discussing the concept of emotional intelligence and how it can be applied to your personal and professional development. We will be exploring the ideas presented in the book, Coaching for Emotional Intelligence, written by Bob Wall. Emotional intelligence is a crucial component of effective leadership and can help you better understand and manage your own emotions, as well as those of others. Join us as we delve into the important topic of emotional intelligence and how it can help you become a more effective leader. Your input matters. We would love to hear your thoughts on the video. Please leave a comment with your opinion. Your employees want to know whether or not their work is satisfactory. They can't address their propensities except if they comprehend what they are and the effect they have. Empathy, social awareness, and optimism are all examples of emotional aptitudes. The way work is done is influenced by these skills. In private, correct your employees with respect. To evaluate your employees, use well-supported tests and assessment tools. Employees who receive frequent praise are more open to criticism. Make the structure of a mentoring dialogue second nature by memorizing it. Then, at that point, make it natural to utilize it frequently. Dealing with potential issues right away stops them from getting bigger. Employees benefit from mentoring that helps them become more aware of their actions. Your advice will be more useful if you make accurate and objective observations. Coaching emotional competencies is often avoided by coaches. However, these abilities frequently make the difference between merely competent and truly effective managers. A greater awareness of emotional intelligence or EQ can facilitate significant progress. All work offers a form of service that has a positive impact on the world. This is true of all jobs, regardless of how routine or ordinary they may appear. Even though experts touted IQ tests as a means of evaluating workers' or students' abilities, they acknowledged that the competencies being evaluated were only one aspect of an individual's personal and professional success. The following are the 5 elements of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness and self-control means knowing your core values and beliefs, assessing how your emotions affect your actions, and reacting appropriately to emotional situations. Empathy is the capacity to comprehend other people's needs and feelings as well as their circumstances and points of view. Social expertness, making positive associations with individuals by projecting good faith and receptiveness. Personal influence is the ability to persuade, guide, and inspire other people by establishing credibility and accountability. Mastery of mission, vision, and guiding principles means being able to comprehend your role and the purpose of your business and how they relate to one another. Steering point, the goal that comes from combining your goals, hopes for the future, and most important values is called the steering point. This goal is generally epitomized in an association statement of purpose. With the help of a representative group of workers, individual departments can develop their own mission statements. This creates buy-in and consensus. A crew on a boat without a destination is like a team without a vision. Short-term plans for achieving your team's long-term goals should be developed after the team's long-term vision has been established. Understanding others' emotional responses and how they affect their actions is the foundation of empathy. A genuine concern for others, which not everyone possesses, drives this ability. In order to effectively lead others through a challenging change, you must comprehend how the transition is affecting them. Be mindful not only of what employees are saying but also of the underlying emotions that may be truly motivating their speech and actions to improve your empathy. One method for leveling up this ability is to summarize what representatives say and perceive how intently it impacts them. You will inspire other people to open up even more as you close that gap. Social expertise, extending empathy, social adroitness entails genuinely caring about others and being willing to remain open. Your facial expressions and body language convey a lot about who you are. Ensure that they send out a positive message. How do other people see you? Do you seem friendly? Pose inquiries of others to figure out how they read you. Start acting that way, even if it takes you out of your comfort zone, with a clear picture in mind of how you want to behave. The more you do this, the more comfortable you will feel with the new behaviors. There are a few things you can do to have an impact on your company. Your knowledge, the network of relationships you form over time, your capacity to control your emotions, and your capacity to convey enthusiasm and purpose. In medium or high complexity fields, there is a significant gap between the productivity levels of superstar employees and average employees. The EQ factor is responsible for the difference. Companies that started hiring on the basis of higher EQ test scores saw a measurable rise in productivity. The distinction stands out in particular in sales, where emotional intelligence is crucial. Success is not dependent on intelligence, knowledge, or skill. In every study, high emotional aptitude was the deciding factor. Estimating potential. The Simmons-the Board Frameworks profile has demonstrated to be a solid EQ evaluation instrument that organizations can use to coordinate the perfect character with the right work. The profile, which has been in use for nearly 30 years, evaluates 13 traits that predict workplace performance. It measures work ethic, adaptability, assertiveness, enthusiasm, and attitude, among other important factors. Each and every person who reports to you is accountable for their performance. That is the essence of leadership. Utilizing this assessment has been reported to have saved a number of large businesses thousands of dollars by drastically lowering turnover rates and the associated costs. In point of fact, the profile is utilized by the National Football League to assist in determining whether or not prospective draft picks possess the characteristics required to play particular positions. Coaching is a structured conversation intended to enhance, maintain, improve our correct performance, according to Wikipedia. Make use of tools like the profile to narrow down the pool of applicants for open positions within your department or organization. You can evaluate the emotional strengths and weaknesses of potential candidates, select the best candidates, and coach them in their weak spots. An EQ test, for instance, might show that a candidate has a lot of good qualities but needs help learning how to delegate responsibility. As a result, you can pinpoint that flaw. When performance needs to be improved, people want their leaders to notice what they do, to offer appreciation for work well done, and to provide timely and appropriately phrased corrective coaching. Nine out of 10 workers will respond that they do not receive sufficient recognition for their accomplishments if you ask them what irritates them the most. Good work rarely receives praise or recognition. Employees frequently misunderstand how their work is being evaluated when they do not receive mentoring or feedback. Take the good with the bad. Employees must also be aware of when they are failing, as it directly affects you. Keep in mind that providing direction is a part of your job, but you must tailor it to each person and circumstance. People who were hired for their knowledge and creativity cannot be managed through fear and intimidation. Sadly, some managers are hesitant to correct their employees' actions. They worry about emotional backlash. Some managers think that monetary compensation is all an employee needs to be praised. Coaching is able to correct this fallacy. Coaching is merely a conversation aimed at improving performance on the job. Good managers mentor their employees. In today's world, employees' output and methods for achieving results must be evaluated. Coaches are forced to venture into more intimate territory as a result, which causes some managers and employees discomfort. In any case, individuals need criticism about the thing they're getting along admirably and where they need to get to the next level. One of psychology's most fundamental findings is that rewarding a behavior raises the likelihood that it will be repeated. At the point when individuals are accomplishing something you like, remember them for it. Every person is the result of their experiences. It's important to know how your life and the lives of your employees were affected by previous events. You are more likely to avoid engaging in pre-programmed behavior that could be harmful if you are more aware of your past. Helping subordinates become aware of memories, thoughts, and actions that may be limiting their success is one way to apply this insight as a coach. Coaching fundamentals: mentoring others is part of being in charge. In the past, employees were content with just having jobs. It wasn't necessary to have fun. Yet, in the ongoing industry climate, relationship networks are essential to building achievement. Managers can't rely on intimidating their subordinates in the information age. Employers seek workers who will enhance their overall accomplishments and respect their objectives and guiding principles. Create a deal with your employees in which you promise to collaborate to help them perform at their best. Coaching becomes a partnership as a result, as opposed to an interaction based on power and negative consequences. It shifts the focus of your relationships to a commitment to excellence on both sides. Teams of experts are increasingly being used by businesses to tackle specific projects or issues. Because emotional intelligence is so important in a team environment, a team leader may be asked to help others develop their emotional and social sensitivity. You might want to help an aggressive team member become more sensitive or better at listening, or encourage a shy subordinate to contribute. When you start coaching people about their personal characteristics, keep your professional demeanor. Link your personal characteristics to your job performance. Some basics for coaching: maintain your emotional aptitudes current. The part of this objective that might be the most challenging for you is figuring out your own hidden personality flaws. In EQ tests, executives frequently give themselves higher marks than their subordinates do. Once in a while the hole is very enormous. Leading people is like looking in the mirror. You only need to look at your team if you want to know how well you are leading. They show your drive to achieve results, dedication, clarity of purpose, and passion. Follow your own principles and goals expertly. How do they align with the business's ideas? Subordinates are severely demoralized when a leader's values do not align with the organization's. It's important to have a good relationship with your workers. Find out what drives them and tell them a little bit about yourself in return. Leaders sometimes avoid getting too close to employees for fear of having to fire them. However, coaching requires close relationships. Your employees will not produce their best work until they are aware that you care about their development. Review their performance on a regular basis. Employees will be more receptive to corrective action if you praise them often. Learn to identify situations in which mentoring could be beneficial and then step in. Make sure your employees are aware of the criteria used to determine success. During formal performance evaluations, avoid misunderstandings. A structured format. Keep your feedback to no more than 1 minute in order to seamlessly incorporate regular mentoring into your schedule. Use a structured conversation that starts with, "I want to talk to you about," to distinguish your coaching comments from regular conversation. It's helpful to start mentoring conversations with a consistent lead-in. Give a precise description of the behavior or action in question, along with any potential repercussions. Make it clear what changes you expect the employee to make. If you're praising someone, just tell them to keep up the good work. Keep praising good performance. You can offer recognition in under a portion of a moment. Attempt to be exact in your honors so your workers realize you genuinely are fixed on their endeavors. Every week, make it a habit to thank your subordinates for their contributions. Keep a list of praiseworthy actions as you see them so you can remember to say something nice. Make sure to recognize others in broad daylight and assist them with feeling glad for their commitments. Employees are more open to constructive criticism when they receive consistent praise. Coaching entails constantly adjusting your employees' course of action. Corrective coaching. Employees should know that you want to help them get better. During a corrective session, remember to listen carefully. It's possible that the employee doesn't fully comprehend the circumstance or that they require additional coaching. Your employee may be facing a challenge. At the point when you are attempting to work on a representative's personal fitness, you should offer that person a few elective ways of behaving or activities to fill in for conduct that isn't working. The majority of people are working hard to be useful contributors. You may occasionally casually approach an employee and comment on 1 or 2 things you observed during a recent interaction. Try not to appear critical too much. Include some encouragement. To get an employee to change their bad behavior, it's sometimes necessary to have a more formal conversation with them. Give concrete examples to change someone's emotional attitudes or patterns. Determine whether the worker is aware of the issue. If not, help him or her comprehend the problem so you can convince the employee that the behavior needs to change. You must take a stand when an employee refuses to acknowledge the issue or doesn't understand it. Explain that you will not tolerate this behavior because it is unacceptable. If you're dealing with an ongoing issue that hasn't been resolved, you might want to talk about the long-term effects on the employee's career so that the employee knows how serious the problem is. Consult your HR department about the next course of action if you are unable to resolve the issue during coaching sessions. Thank you for joining us on the Success Face and for taking the time to learn about emotional intelligence and how it can benefit your personal and professional development. We hope that the insights and strategies shared in Coaching for Emotional Intelligence by Bob Wall have provided you with valuable tools to improve your emotional intelligence and become a more effective leader. Remember, emotional intelligence is a key component of success and can greatly impact your relationships, communication skills, and overall well-being. Keep learning and growing as a leader, and don't forget to tune in for our next video. Your feedback is important to us. If you have any thoughts or opinions on the video, we would love to hear them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Share it with your friends and loved ones. We send you thousands of blessings, much success, and much happiness for you and your entire family.